It all started with Daniel, a young man with nothing but dreams in his pocket and love in his heart. He met Clara 2 years ago, and from the moment their eyes locked, he swore to himself that she deserved the best life possible. But life wasn't easy for Daniel. He didn't come from wealth, nor did he have powerful connections. What he had was determination. So for months, he worked 3 jobs. In the morning, he stacked shelves at a grocery store. By afternoon, he delivered packages across the city. And at night, he washed dishes at a restaurant until his hands were sore. Every dollar he earned, every hour of sleep he sacrificed, it was all for one thing: Clara's upcoming birthday. Daniel wanted it to be magical. He saved every coin, every tip. He refused to spend on himself, sometimes skipping meals just so he could save a little more. Finally, after countless weeks of exhaustion, the day arrived. Daniel had everything ready. He booked her favorite restaurant, bought her the necklace she once admired through a shop window, and even wrote her a heartfelt letter expressing how deeply he loved her. With trembling hands and a hopeful smile, he walked toward the restaurant where Clara was waiting. But what he saw shattered his world. There she was, Clara, laughing, smiling, holding hands with another man. Daniel froze at the doorway, the gift box slipping from his hand, crashing onto the floor. Clara's eyes met his for just a moment, and instead of guilt, instead of shame, she smirked. The room spun. The people around blurred into shadows. His heart, the very thing he had worked so hard for, crumbled into pieces right there. But what Daniel didn't know was that this betrayal was only the beginning, because hidden behind Clara's cold smile was a secret far darker than he could ever imagine. Daniel's chest tightened as he watched Clara, the woman he loved, the woman he sacrificed everything for, sit across from another man, her hand locked in his. He wanted to scream, to demand answers, but his voice caught in his throat. Instead, he turned away, disappearing into the night with nothing but the shattered pieces of his heart. The birthday gift, her necklace, her letter, remained on the restaurant floor, forgotten like his love. For days, Daniel vanished. He stopped working, stopped eating, stopped caring. His friends tried to reach him, but he couldn't bear the humiliation. Everything he had done was for her, and she destroyed it in one moment. But then, something strange happened. Late one night, as Daniel scrolled through his phone, he saw a photo posted on social media. Clara with the same man from the restaurant. Only this time the caption read, "Power couple goals. Nothing can stop us." And the man, Daniel recognized him. It was his boss, the owner of the delivery company he worked for. Rage burned in Daniel's chest. He realized this wasn't just betrayal of love. Clara hadn't just fallen for someone else. She had chosen someone powerful, someone who could give her more than Daniel ever could. But what shocked Daniel the most was the date. The photo wasn't new. It was weeks old, meaning Clara had been betraying him long before her birthday. Daniel clenched his fists. The pain inside him slowly transformed into something else, something darker. And as he stared at the screen, a notification popped up. An anonymous message. No name, no photo, just a single line of text. "If you want to know the truth about Clara, meet me tomorrow night. Alone." Daniel's heart pounded. Who could it be? What truth? Was there something even worse than what he'd already seen? He didn't know, but he knew one thing. Tomorrow night, he was going to find out. The night was cold. Daniel's footsteps echoed against the empty street as he made his way to the location in the anonymous message. An old, dimly lit cafe on the outskirts of town. Inside, only one person waited. A hood pulled over his head, face shadowed by the dim light. Daniel hesitated, but the stranger motioned for him to sit. "Daniel," the man said softly, "I know everything about Clara, and if you don't listen carefully, she will destroy more than just your heart." Daniel's fist tightened. "Who are you? And what you mean?" The stranger leaned closer. "Clara isn't who you think she is. The man she's with, your boss, he isn't just a new lover. Together, they've been running something dangerous, and you were their target all along." Daniel's eyes widened. Target? For what? The stranger slid a small envelope across the table. "Proof. But once you see it, There's no going back. With trembling hands, Daniel opened it. Inside were photographs. Clara meeting with different men in secret, signing documents, exchanging envelopes of cash. And in every photo, one thing stood out. Clara's smirk, that same cold smile she gave him the night she betrayed him. Daniel's stomach turned. Why are you showing me this? The stranger's voice dropped. Because Clara isn't just betraying you. She's setting you up. And if you don't act fast, the police will come knocking at your door. Daniel froze, his blood running cold. What? Why me? Before the stranger could answer, the cafe door suddenly creaked open. Daniel's heart stopped. Clara walked in, dressed in black, eyes burning with fury. Daniel, she said slowly, her voice sharp like a blade. I told you before, curiosity will ruin you. The stranger bolted up. Run, Daniel. She knows we're here. Daniel's chair scraped back, panic rushing through him. Clara's lips curled into a wicked smile as she pulled something from her coat pocket. It glimmered under the cafe lights. Daniel's heart pounded. Was it a gun? A knife? He didn't wait to find out. He ran. Behind him, Clara's chilling voice echoed through the night. You can't hide from me, Daniel. Not anymore. Daniel's lungs burned as he ran through the empty streets. Clara's voice haunting him with every step. He didn't stop until he reached a dark alley, collapsing against the wall, his chest heaving. The stranger from the cafe had vanished. Daniel didn't even know if he'd survived. But one thing was clear. Clara wasn't just a selfish lover. She was dangerous. That night, Daniel barely slept. He kept hearing the stranger's words. She's setting you up. By morning, his worst fears began to unfold. Police sirens wailed outside his apartment. A knock thundered against his door. Daniel Morgan. Open up. His heart sank. Panic shot through his body. He knew this was it. Clara had made her move. Through the thin crack of his window, Daniel spotted two officers waiting, their hands resting on their belts. His phone buzzed on the table. He grabbed it. Another anonymous message. They're coming for you. Don't surrender. Go to the old warehouse by the river. Trust me. Daniel's pulse raced. He had two choices. Open the door and face arrest for a crime he didn't commit, or run, and step deeper into the shadows of Clara's trap. He chose to run. Slipping through the back door, Daniel vanished into the city. Hours later, he reached the old warehouse, the sun setting behind him. Inside, the air was thick with dust, silence heavy. Then footsteps. The same hooded stranger emerged from the dark. You came. Good. Now listen carefully. Clara and your boss. They've framed you for something much bigger than you think. Fraud, theft, and soon maybe even murder. Daniel's stomach twisted. Murder? Why me? The stranger pulled out a small USB drive, holding it up like it was a weapon. Because this has everything. The deals, the money, the recordings. If we can expose it, you'll be free. But if Clara gets to it first. Suddenly, the warehouse door slammed shut. A familiar voice echoed through the shadows. Chilling, sharp, unmistakable. Too late, Clara whispered. The game is already over. Daniel's heart thundered. She was here. She had found him. And in that moment, Daniel realized his fight for love had turned into a fight for his very life. The warehouse air turned heavy as Clara's heels clicked against concrete floor. Daniel froze, his eyes darting between her and the hooded stranger. Her cold smile cut through the shadows. Daniel, sweet, loyal Daniel. You really thought working 3 jobs would win me over? You were never more than a piece on my board. Daniel's fists trembled. Why me, Clara? Why drag me into this? She tilted her head, almost amused. Because you were perfect. A desperate man, invisible to the world, struggling just to survive. No one would ever question you. And when the money went missing, when the deals collapsed, who better to take the fall than the poor fool in love? Daniel's chest tightened. His love, his sacrifices, his dreams. They were nothing but tools in her hands. The hooded stranger stepped forward, his voice sharp. Clara, enough. This isn't just about Daniel. Tell him the truth. Tell him what you and his boss are really planning. Clara's smirk faded into something darker. You shouldn't have interfered, she hissed. Her eyes locked on Daniel again, burning with cruel satisfaction. Your boss and I, we're not just lovers. We're partners. And soon, we'll control more than just money. But you, Daniel, you had to ruin everything by being too curious. Daniel's breath caught. Control? Partners? What were they planning? The stranger reached into his jacket, pulling out the USB drive. Daniel, this is all the evidence. If we get it out, her empire collapses. Clara's eyes narrowed, her voice dropping to a deadly whisper. You think he'll believe you? Daniel, don't you see? By tomorrow morning, your name will be everywhere. Fraud, embezzlement, and murder. And when they drag you away, no one will doubt it. Because I made sure the world only sees you as a desperate failure. Daniel's heart pounded in his ears. His life, his freedom, his very future was slipping away. Suddenly, the warehouse lights flickered. Heavy footsteps thundered in from outside. Men in dark suits stormed in, his boss at the front, smiling coldly. End of the line, Daniel, the boss said. You never should have loved her. Daniel's eyes widened. He was surrounded. Clara stood beside her boss, their hands brushing together like a victory claim. And just as the men closed in, the stranger shoved the USB drive into Daniel's hand and whispered, "Run. Don't let them win." The USB burned in Daniel's palm as the men closed in. His boss smirked, Clara by his side, both of them convinced his fate was sealed. But then, chaos. The hooded stranger threw a metal pipe across the floor, the loud crash distracting everyone. In that split second, he shoved Daniel toward the back exit. "Go! Save yourself!" the stranger shouted. Daniel bolted, clutching the USB, his heart hammering. Behind him, he heard Clara's furious scream and the pounding of footsteps as men gave chase. He barely escaped, stumbling into the night, breathless but alive. For the first time, Daniel wasn't just running from Clara. He was running toward the truth. By dawn, Daniel hid inside a cramped motel room, the USB drive glowing under the flickering light. He plugged it into his old laptop, praying it still worked. Files appeared. Videos, documents, bank transactions, each one revealing the ugly truth. His boss and Clara weren't just partners in love. They were partners in crime. They were laundering millions, bribing officials, setting up fake accounts in Daniel's name. And the most chilling file, a recorded call. Clara's voice, frame him completely. By the time the police catch Daniel, will be long gone. Daniel's hands shook. His love, his sacrifice, his pain. All of it, nothing but bait for their empire. But now he had proof. Daniel stared at the screen, his reflection trembling in the glass. He was no longer the desperate man who worked 3 jobs just to win love. No, he was a man with nothing left to lose. And for the first time, his lips curled into a cold smile. If Clara wants a game, then I'll play. But this time, I'll win. That night, Daniel dialed a number he never thought he would. The stranger's voice answered on the other end. "I have the proof," Daniel whispered, "but I need your help. I'm going to take them down, all of them." The stranger paused and replied, "Good, but you'd better move fast. Clara already knows you have the USB, and she's coming for you." Daniel tightened his grip on the laptop. The war had just begun. The city never sleeps, and now neither did Daniel. The motel room was his war room. Maps, files in the USB, a list of names, and a trembling hope that truth could still beat power. He started small. First, he needed allies he could trust. People with nothing to gain from Clara's rise, and everything to lose if she stayed in control. He reached out to Lena, an investigative reporter who once wrote about corruption and lost her career after being buried by paid stories. Marcus, a quiet IT guy from the delivery company who'd hinted at suspicious transfers but was too scared to act. The hooded stranger, the one who'd saved him the warehouse. He had a name now, Jonah, ex-security, now whistleblower. Over coffee in a cramped diner, Daniel laid the files on the table. Lena's eyes moved rapidly across each document. Marcus scrolled through bank logs, his fingers trembling. Jonah only watched, silent and careful. "This is enough to start an investigation," Lena said finally. "But journalism alone won't be enough. They bought silence at every level. So what do we do?" Daniel asked. He sounded less like a broken man and more like a commander. Jonah leaned forward. "We expose them publicly and make it impossible for the authorities to ignore. We create a chain reaction. Leaks, bank freezes, social pressure. Make their partners panic and turn. And we make sure the evidence can't be buried." Daniel nodded. The plan was risky, messy, and illegal in parts. But Clara had left him no clean choices. They planted controlled leaks, an anonymous tip to an investigative show, a copy of the files to a financial regulator under a false whistleblower identity, and a short, damning clip uploaded to a burner account that showed Clara accepting a cash envelope, time-stamped undeniable. Within 48 hours, the ripple started. A small blog picked it up, and then a bigger outlet. Marcus's IT contacts quietly triggered a review at one of the shell companies. Clara's phone started ringing with lawyers. Her boss, Daniel's boss, called frantic emergency meetings. Clara, for the first time since she'd smiled at him in the restaurant, looked rattled. Daniel watched her videos and press statements from a distance, heart hammering with each new headline. It was intoxicating and terrifying. He was watching the woman who'd used him fall from the comfortable throne she'd built. But Clara wasn't beaten. She moved like a shark sensing blood. She tightened her circle, replaced staff, and, most dangerously, she leaked a single ruthless narrative. Daniel was unstable, dangerous, obsessed. Plant that idea and public sympathy. Switches. Plant doubt. And Lena's story could be dismissed as revenge. The first trap nearly snapped shut. A local reporter, fed by Clara's PR, published a hit piece about Daniel's history of odd behavior. Digging up old tweets, neighbors' gossip, anything to paint him as a ticking problem. The comments filled with the ugly cruelty of online mobs. Lena swore, furious. Daniel thought of the nights he skipped meals, the calloused hands he'd hide. He thought of the necklace on the restaurant floor. He felt the old shame rise, and then he pushed it down. Shame had become fuel. Jonah tracked a wire transfer to an offshore account used by Clara's boss. Marcus found a backdoor in the company's document server, a file showing an signed agreement that tied the boss to a politician known for sweeping investigations under the rug. They needed a public stage where removing that politician would force an independent inquiry. Lena had an idea, an on-air sting, a live interview where she would reveal selected evidence and demand answers, while the regulator simultaneously announced a provisional freeze on suspicious accounts. The timing would be everything. If done right, it would strip Clara's protection and put law enforcement under public pressure to act. They prepared. Lena rehearsed her lines. Marcus secured redundancies for files. Jonah arranged a safe exit route. Daniel rehearsed the look he would give when watched live. Calm, composed, and finally believable. The night before the broadcast, Daniel couldn't sleep. The motel room felt small and fragile. He stared at the laptop screen, photos, spreadsheets. The recorded call Clara's plan to frame him completely. He whispered to the silence, "This ends tomorrow." But the world has a way of throwing teeth into even the best laid plans. At 3:14 a.m., his burner phone vibrated. Unknown number. A single message. "We know where you're hiding. Tonight. Alone." Attached, a photo of a motel room, taken through the curtains. Daniel's blood went cold. The leak was inside their small circle. Someone had watched the move, tracked them, and now knew when and where to hit. He looked at Jonah, Marcus, Lena. None of them had moved. None had answered their phones. And at the window, a shadow shifted. A figure slipping along the motel parking lot, moving closer. Daniel had one last choice. Go on live tomorrow and risk Clara turning the feed into his doom, or disappear and lose the chance to bring her down for good. He grabbed his coat, the USB in his pocket, and made for fire exit, not to run, but to set the next trap. Because the only thing Clara hadn't seen coming was that Daniel had learned how to play their game. As he stepped into the cool night, a new message hit his phone. "You were warned. Burn it, Daniel, and you die." Behind him, the shadows stopped and turned. A single laugh, soft and terrible, Drifted on the air, Clara's laugh. We're on part 8 now, where the motel ambush plays out, and the live sting either succeeds or collapses into chaos. I can write it up next with a big twist. In motel room, night. The room is quiet. Too quiet. Daniel moves like a soldier. Coat on, USB in his pocket, hard a drum. Lena's voice is hushed over phone. When we go live, I'll push them. Keep your line open. A light tap at the window. Daniel freezes. His burner vibrates. Tonight, alone. The photo shows the curtains just like now. Outside, footsteps. A shadow crosses a parking lot. Jonah slips into the doorway without knocking. Calm as always. He holds up a finger, a signal. Jonah, whisper. 2 at the door. They're patient. Daniel nods. He moves to the fire exit. Jonah pulls the curtains and peers out. EXT, motel parking continuous. 2 men in plain clothes creep along the cars. Clara's laugh slips through the night. Someone films from a dark sedan. Back inside. Jonah reaches for Daniel's shoulder. Jonah, go. Now. I'll slow them. Daniel, no. I'm not leaving you. Jonah smiles, small, resigned. Jonah, you've got to. They won't stop for me. Daniel hesitates, then runs. Jonah moves the door and throws it wide. A shout. 2 men charge. Jonah meets them. Metal clatters. A struggle. Jonah fights like a cornered animal, buying seconds. Daniel flees down the alley, breath tearing, pulls a phone from his pocket, and hits send. An encrypted upload. Multiple copies of the USB files start seeding to Lena, to independent servers, to dozens of burner addresses Marcus prepared. Jonah takes a blow. He goes down. The men grab him. The last thing Daniel sees as he turns a corner. Jonah's eyes, steady, a small thumbs up. Daniel, voice breaking. Jonah. Jonah is hauled into the sedan. The car peels away. Clara's laugh floats from the back seat. In TV studio. Next day, late afternoon. A nervous hum. Cameras, producers, the red live light. Lena sits across from an anchor, a reputable network, doing an unexpected primetime special. Marcus is in a van outside, monitoring servers. Daniel is off camera in the green room, wired for a pre-recorded statement if needed. Lena breathes into her palm, then nods to the producer. Producer, whisper. We go live in 3, 2, 1. On air, Lena stares into camera. Lena, tonight we bring you evidence of a money laundering network that reaches into the highest offices of the city. Names, recordings, bank transfers, all verified. Cut to graphics, transaction chains, photos of Clara receiving cash. Viewers see timestamps and signed documents. Anchor, you're accusing Clara Reyes and her partner, Daniel Morgan's former boss, of systemic fraud. Have you notified regulators? Lena, yes. They've confirmed a preliminary review. We have copies of documents that link shell accounts directly to them. In regulatory office, simultaneous. Phones ring. A regulator reviews an urgent packet. He types a statement. The newsroom receives a call. We're placing provisional freezes on the accounts referenced. In the studio, the anchor breaks the news live. In green room, same time. Daniel watches the live feed. For a moment, pride, then a tremor of fear. If Clara's PR narrative sticks, everything Lena says could be painted as revenge. Marcus texts, "You good?" Uploads holding. Daniel replies, "Yes, but Jonah." The text dies on the screen. No reply. In studio later. Lena plays an audio clip. Clara's voice cold, instructing that Daniel must be framed completely. The studio quiets. The live comments explode. The studio feeds other outlets. Tweets trend. Then chaos. A stagehand bursts in, whispering urgently to producer. The producer's face drains. Producer whispers, "We have an intruder request." Security says she's here. Every camera swings. The studio door opens. Clara walks in, composed and black. She moves like a performance artist. Hair perfect, smile honed. Clara, Loud, theatrical, so dramatic. I thought you'd at least have new lives by now, Lena. Crowd murmurs. The anchor stands, stunned. Security moves, too slow. Clara, so indeed, turns the camera. Before you crucify people based on anonymous uploads, maybe we should ask one question. Who benefits from making me look guilty? She reaches into her coat and draws a small phone, presses play. A live feed, camera phone video, shaky, filmed in a dim room. On the screen, a woman bound to a chair, eyes wide. She's gagged. The room is low lit. The caption at the bottom of the phone video, Daniel, proof of loyalty. Silence like a physical thing. Lena's face goes white. The anchor's jaw tightens. Lena, voice small. Who is that? Who are you holding? Clara smiles. Pleasure in the chaos. Clara, smiling. Someone Daniel loves. Or rather, someone he pretended not to have. We all have skeletons, don't we? Daniel's body collapses as if punched. A voice in his head tries to name her. A childhood memory, a photograph. He squints at the screen, coiled, horrified. Daniel, whisper. No, that can't be her. Clara's eyes find Daniel from the camera, like a laser. Clara, sharp. You wanted to surprise me once. You were willing to do anything for love. Where's that little loyalty now, Daniel? She steps closer to the camera. The phone feed zooms. The bound woman's face becomes clearer. Daniel's breath stops. It's not a stranger. It's someone he recognizes. Someone from a childhood photo he keeps tucked in his wallet. Someone who smiled at his birthday years ago. The studio floods with movement. Producers shout. Security rushes Clara, but she's already backing away. Voice calm, cinematic. Clara, C-O-N-T. You can run, Daniel, but you can't save everyone. Her phone cuts. The stream dies. For an instant, the world holds its breath. Then, monitors flicker. The studio's live feed goes to a breaking news slate. Feed interrupted. Viewers flood social media. Lena, near tears. Who are you holding? Who is that? Daniel's vision narrows. He hears Jonah's voice in his mind. Don't let them win. He fumbles for his phone, dialing Marcus, Lena, anyone. A text pops up from an unknown number. You were warned. Burn it, Daniel. Daniel looks up at the studio cameras. Millions watch his face. Panic and resolve war inside him. He whispers, barely audible to himself. Daniel, hoarse. I'll get her back. Behind him, the studio door slams. Security surrounds Clara's retreating car. The men move with purpose. But Clara is already in the sedan, face unreadable. She presses the window up. The car peels away, leaving a trail of dust and a world full of questions. Cut to black. Int. Green room. Night after the studio incident. Daniel sits frozen. The studio light still red through the door. Lena paces, face pale, phone pressed to her ear. Marcus is on his laptop in a corner, furious and exhausted. The room smells of stale coffee and fear. Lena, quiet, urgent. We have to assume it's real. Someone is being held. We need a plan now. Marcus, frantic. We can trace the phone feed. The metadata may be the upload route. It'll take time. Daniel, voice thin. Who is she? He takes out the childhood photo from his pocket. The one he said he keeps for luck. Lena stares. Lena, you said you kept that with you. Who is she? Daniel. Whispers. Amira, my sister. Foster sister. She left when we were kids. I thought she was safe. I thought she was with family. I thought. The word dies. Everyone in the room knows the stakes have just doubled. In Jonah's holding room. Night. Jonah sits bound to a metal chair in a basement room. Blood and sweat stain his sleeve. A single bare bulb swings. Two men hover, impatient. Man number one. She wants him scared, not dead. Keeps it clean. Jonah smiles weak. You tell her I tried. Tell Daniel I tried. A boot pushes Jonah's chair. He winces but keeps his face steady. He had bought Daniel time before. Maybe he still can. EXT, abandoned pier dawn. Daniel, Marcus, and Lena walked to a rusted pier where Jonah said deals happen. Marcus clutches a second decoy USB inside a cheap wallet. Lena carries a camera live streaming to a private channel. Daniel moves silent. Hoodie up, eyes hollow but burning. Marcus, soft, will swap the drive. You hand over the decoy. She releases a mirror. Then we go straight to police with the real files, and the stream is proof. Lena, urgent. We don't have a lot of faith in Clara following the rules, but it's the best shot. If she walks away with a real USB, it's over. Daniel, I know. I'll do it. He tucks the real USB deep in his pocket and raises his chin. This isn't just about justice anymore. It's about a mirror. EXT. Pier moments later. The pier is half collapsed, waves biting at the pilings. A foghorn moans in the distance. Daniel waits beneath a flickering lamp. A black SUV rolls up. Clara steps out, immaculate as ever. Her smile is an executioner's grin. Clara, still smiling. Daniel, how touching. You brought a production. She nods once. Two men step from the shadows, Jonah's captors. Jonah sits in the SUV, bruised but alive, flanked by men who look pleased with their leverage. Clara, CONT, you brought the decoy? Daniel steps forward slowly. Marcus raises his hands, casual. Lena keeps the stream rolling, lens trained on Clara's face. Daniel, steady? I have it. He reveals the cheap wallet. Clara steps closer, very close. Close enough that he can see the subtle anger under her control. Clara, cold. Give it. And she goes. Jonah's eyes find Daniel's. He mouths. Don't trust her. But Daniel cannot see betrayal as easily now. Amira's face is on the line. Daniel hands over the wallet. The man opens it, smirks. Inside, the decoy drive Marcus made. Clara turns it over in her hand, the smile never dropping. Clara, you always were sentimental. She tosses the drive back to the man. He pockets it. Clara's phone buzzes. She checks it, eyes unreadable. Then she does something Daniel didn't expect. She nods. Clara, CONT, release the girl. The men move to a cargo crate at the pier. Metal groans. They pull a tarp aside. A young woman, bound, gagged, slumps. Daniel's breath catches. He runs forward and rips the gag away. Amira, hoarse cry. Danny. She collapses into his arms. He holds her like he's never letting go. He inhales her hair, the salt on her skin, the small ragged breaths. Daniel, whisper, I've got you. I've got you. But while Daniel holds Amira, Clara speaks into her sleeve mic. The men with Jonah stiffen. Clara, soft, dangerous, sees Jonah and take Daniel's phone. The men hesitate. Jonah's captors are busy escorting Jonah into the SUV. One of them reaches for Daniel's hip, fingers closing on his phone. Marcus lunges, too late. A hand slams into his face. He goes down. Lena, shouting, no, don't touch him. Clara raises a single hand, and in that second, the plan fractures. She moves like conductor, precise, graceful, lethal. Clara, quiet, keep the girl. Let her question him. He'll make mistakes. He'll confess things in panic, or we'll break him in front of her. Daniel's blood runs cold. He pulls a mirror behind him, a shield. Daniel, voice shaking. You promised. Clara, I promised you a choice. You gave it to me. Then Clara does something worse. She shows Daniel's phone, still in his hand. A single message on the screen from an unknown number. Watched alive. Don't save her, Daniel. His hands tremble. Lena screams, the live stream picking up the sound. Panic surges in Daniel's chest. If the world sees him act, Clara will spin it into proof he's dangerous. If he doesn't act, Amira is in their hands. Jonah, still inside the SUV, slams his forehead against a window. It's not just leverage anymore. He's been sold as collateral. Man number one. To Clara, what do you want us to do with him? Clara, eyes on Daniel. Give me the real drive. No tricks. Daniel's lungs burn. The real USB is cold in his pocket. Its tiny metal edges digging into his skin. He can hand it over and maybe walk away with Amira, maybe, or refuse and watch them take Amira again. He glances at Lena. Marcus is groggy on the ground. Jonah's eyes plead. Daniel, soft to Lena, get the stream up. Make sure everyone sees. If they take me, they can't bury everything. Lena nods. Fingers flying, amplifying the feed tube. Mirror channels. Pinging contacts, calling journalists. But she looks like she's losing faith. Clara's hand hovers. The SUV man tightens around Jonah. Outside, the ocean slaps the pier. Daniel makes a decision. A razor moment, painful and immediate. He reaches into his pocket. Fingers close around the real USB. Daniel, voice barely audible. Amira, go. Run with Marcus. Now. Amira, terrified. Danny, what are you? Before she can finish, a shout from the SUV. The men have moved. Someone lunges for Daniel. He jerks the USB free. And then, in the same breath, Clara smiles and a second phone starts playing. A live feed from the studio. Lena's face, Daniel's face, the world watching. Clara, to the camera, sweet. If he moves, you all just watch a man confess his crimes. Daniel's thumb hovers above the drive. He can feel the weight of every night he worked. Every coin saved, every meal skipped. He's not the same desperate boy. But this is a bargain he never wanted to make. He breathes. The wind smells like salt and metal. He thinks of Jonah's sacrifice, of Lena's courage, of Amira's small hand in his. Daniel, whisper, I'll do it. He pulls the drive out, not to hand it, but to throw. He throws the USB. A quick, violent arc aimed past Clara's men into the dark water under the pier. The drive glints, then disappears beneath the black tide. Clara's smile fractures. Clara, soft, furious. You imbecile. Two men dive after it. One of them disappears into the cold river. Jonah screams from the SUV. Amira, crying, Danny, what did you do? Daniel stands, chest heaving, hands empty. He has no drive. He has Amira in his arms. He has the world watching. He has no proof left in his pocket. Clara laughs, a brittle, triumphant sound. She leans into the camera lens that Lena still has rolling and whispers for the world to hear. Clara, you thought burning proof would finish me? How naive. That was always the plan. And now you'll have to prove everything with your word. Behind her, men drag the drowning man from the water, the decoy retriever. He coughs up water, elbowing toward the pier. They produce a small, gleaming object from his hand. It's not the USB. It's a SIM card, a red herring. Security converges. Phones flash. The live feed spikes with viewers asking questions. The comments are a war zone. Daniel feels the tide of the world flip under him. He has saved Amira for now, but he has thrown away the one thing that could have destroyed Clara for good. He looks at Jonah, still alive but moved away, and realizes the truth. Clara didn't want the USB to stay hidden. She wanted to force him to burn it, so she could reframe the narrative and make him the desperate liar. He made a choice for love, and it might have cost everything. Then, the final beat before the cut. A hum from the darkness. A second phone buzzing in Daniel's pocket. A new message appears. Nice move. Now come to the docks at midnight. Alone, or she dies. It's from an unknown number. The camera on Lena catches Daniel's face as he reads it. Raw, exhausted, furious, and utterly determined. Daniel, quiet, a promise. I'm coming. Behind him, Clara smiles into the lens as if she's already won. Cut to black. EXT, docks midnight. The docks are silent except for the lap of black water and the groan of old steel cranes. Daniel walks alone, hood up, fists clenched. Every step is heavy. He knows this will be a trap. In his pocket, the second phone vibrates again. Keep walking. Pier 17. Daniel's jaw tightens. He glances once at the shadows behind him. No Lena, no Marcus. He left them behind. This was his choice. EXT, Pier 17, continuous. A single floodlight cuts through the darkness. Beneath it, a figure waits. Not Clara, not Jonah. It's a man Daniel hasn't seen before. Late 40s, crisp suit, silver hair, cold smile, stranger, steady calm. Daniel. I was wondering when we'd finally meet. Daniel stops, breathing hard. Daniel wears a mirror. The stranger tilts his head. From the shadows, two guards drag someone forward. A bag over her head, wrists tied. A muffled cry escapes. Daniel's chest aches. Daniel, stepping forward, let her go. Stranger, chuckling, always straight to the heart. Admirable, naive. You think this is still about Clara? Daniel freezes. Stranger, so indeed. Clara was only a chapter, a tool, a mask. She betrayed you. Yes, but not for herself. She was working for me. He takes a slow step closer. Stranger, so indeed. You burned the USB, didn't you? Just as she wanted. Just as I planned. Which means you've already played your part. Daniel's fists clench. Daniel, you're lying. The man smirks. Stranger, am I? Clara's ambition blinded her. She thought she'd be free after delivering you. But she'll learn soon enough. Everyone learns. He signals. A guard rips the bag off the hostage's head. It's Amira, pale, terrified. Her eyes locked with Daniel's. Amira, weak. Danny, don't. Before she can finish. The stranger presses a small remote in his hand. A red laser dot dances across Amira's chest. Stranger. One wrong move, and she's gone. Daniel takes a desperate step forward. Then freezes. Daniel. Voice cracking. What do you want from me? The stranger's smile widens. Stranger. Loyalty. Silence. And the story. The world believes you're unstable. Emotional. A liar. I want you to stay that way. Daniel shakes his head. Fury in his eyes. Daniel. No, I won't be your pawn. The stranger leans in, voice low. Stranger. You already are. And if you resist, your sister dies, and Clara, she'll take the fall. She always does. The guards push Amira closer to the edge of the pier, the black water swirling below. Daniel's mind races. He can't fight all of them. He can't let Amira fall. He can't let this man win. The stranger whispers one final sentence, chilling and cruel. Stranger. Choose, Daniel. Save your sister or expose me. You can't do both. Daniel's breath catches. His eyes dart between Amira, the guards, and the man. He feels the world collapse again. Then, from the shadows, a faint click echoes. A camera lens glints. Someone else is watching. Someone recording. Daniel doesn't know who, but he knows this. Whatever choice he makes, it will be seen. He stares into the stranger's eyes, jaw set. Daniel, quiet, deadly. Then, I'll make a choice you won't forget. The floodlight flickers. The guards tighten their grip. Amira gasps, and Daniel moves. Cut to black. EXT. Pier 17, midnight continuous. The floodlight glares. The stranger's guards press Amira toward the pier edge. The red duff on the remote trembles across her jacket. Daniel's body moves without thinking. A lunging step, hands reaching for the guards. The man with the remote laughs, low, certain. He presses a button. A faint mechanical whir. A winch creaks behind him. Someone is moving cargo. Daniel sees an opening and dives. Daniel, shouting, "Don't you dare!" A scuffle explodes. The guards shove him back. Daniel's fist connects with one man's jaw. The other raises a baton. The stranger's finger trembles over the trigger. Cut to, under the pier. Water sloshes. In the shadows, a shape slips along the rusted beams. Jonah. He's bloody but breathing. He had somehow escaped the SUV earlier and followed Daniel. After all, Jonah, whispering into a throat mic. Now, Lena. Now, in. Lena's van. Same time. Lena's fingers fly over a laptop. Marcus taps a headset. The live mirrors are still going. Marcus switches to a hidden port. The dock security camera feed, which he's hijacked with a patchwork script. Marcus. Urgent. I've got one blind spot camera. Floodlight control. It is on a loop. I can flash it. Give me 2 seconds. Lena, do it. We need public eyes on them. Marcus hits the command. The floodlight stutters, then pulses. The stranger squints into the glare. Back on the pier, the pulse blinds the guard for a beat. Jonah explodes out from under the pier, tackling the guard's legs. He drags him into the water. The guard flails. Another dives in after him. Chaos. Daniel uses the moment, grabbing for the remote. He yanks. It slips, skitters across the planks. The stranger lunges, but Daniel throws himself on top of the device. Metal meets palm. In the tussle, the remote cracks, the red that dies. The stranger swears, slams Daniel with the butt of the remote. Daniel goes down. Amira screams. Jonah, from the water, horse. Danny, now. Daniel hears it, pushes up, and with a raw surge of strength, rips the small device free. The stranger tries for the gun in his coat, but Jonah, dripping and wild-eyed, leaps up from behind and tackles him. They roll, crashing into wooden pilings. A shot rings out, a single warning shot into the air. Lights sweep the pier. Sirens in the distance, growing louder. Across the water, the shadow of a Coast Guard boat blinks blue. Marcus's hack triggered a noise alert at the Port Authority. A patrol was dispatched. Stranger, furious, breathless. You think this ends with lights and sirens? He presses a key on a small keypad. A soft click, then a phone vibrates in Daniel's pocket. Unknown number texts. We are everywhere. You expose a head. He was a face, but heads regenerate. Daniel's stomach drops. He looks at Jonah. Jonah's face is a mix of anger and warning. Jonah, through gritted teeth. He's lying, but they're not alone. Just then, security men swarm the pier. The stranger fights, but hands grab him. 2 port officers push forward, but then one of them pauses, eyes flicking to a hand signal from someone behind the line. A higher-ranked officer moves, speaking over his shoulder into a radio. Port officer number 1. Uncertain. Hold. Orders to detain only after verification. Clara's voice, calm and cold, carries in the shadows, as if on a live speaker. She's not at the pier. Her voice is in their ears because she's on air again, hijacked the feed earlier to speak. And she is buying time for the stranger. Clara on feed. Calm, theatrical. Don't touch that man. He's political property. You think you're arresting a criminal. You'll arrest the wrong person and hang yourselves in public. The port officer hesitates. He looks at the stranger in handcuffs, then at the approaching officers from higher up. They're on their way. Yes, but someone at the top is pulling strings. A police SUV screeches to the pier. 2 detectives jump out, badges flashing. They take the stranger's cuffed hands and sling new zip ties, but their faces are conflicted. Someone in the command chain has been called. Marcus. Whisper to Lena. They're buying time. The higher-ups are compromised. Lena, shouting into her mic, we have the feed. We have witnesses. Keep recording. All channels now. Push it everywhere. Jonah, pinned beneath the stranger for a second, looks Daniel in the eye. Jonah, hard. You did good. You saved her. But burning the drive, that was only phase 1 of their playbook. They wanted you to feel like you chose. Daniel gulps air, guilt like salt. Amira clutches him. Sobbing, the Port Authority takes the stranger away under heavy escort. Cameras flash, questions shouted. For a breath, it feels like victory. Then, the detective who signed the procedural hold pulls a tiny card from the stranger's pocket and scans it on his phone. His face changes. Detective. Soft stun. This is not him. This ID ties to a shell consultancy used by multiple agencies. Wait! This is a back channel. He looks up, eyes colder now. He hands the card to his partner. The partner's phone pings. A live wire message pops up. Do not proceed. Await command. The detective closes his jaw and steps back. The higher-ups have arrived in the shape of a single cryptic command. Meanwhile, across social media, Lena's Megleak explodes. Hashtags trend. Small outlets replay the pier footage. Eyewitnesses stream clips from cell phones. People are outraged. The stranger's face dominates feeds for hours. But inside Daniel, relief is tempered by a new chill. He watches as men in suits arrive in the distance. Not police, executives. A black briefcase is handed to a port official in a whisper. Amira looks up at him, her chin shaking. Amira, whisper. They're not going to stop. Daniel swallows. His phone buzzes again. Another message from the unknown number. Good performance. Now finish the play. Come to the courthouse at dawn. Alone, where she dies. He reads it, then looks up to see Clara on multiple screens, smiling like a victor, giving interviews about corruption and the danger of vigilante attacks. Jonah, soft. You think we exposed the head, but he was only a mask. Someone bigger is cleaning up, and they know your face now. Daniel's hand curls into a fist. He looks at Amira, at Jonah, at Lena and Marcus, at the crowd online who just watched their lives explode. He knows the stranger is in custody for the moment. He also knows custody can be bought, and masks are replaceable. He steps forward, voice low and raw. Daniel, quiet, resolved. Then we find a throat that feeds them. Lena, hopeful, fierce. We will. We have footage. We have people. We'll find a ripple. But before anyone can act, Daniel's phone lights up with one more image. A grainy photo of a tall man in a courthouse robe. Someone known, respected, seen at charity events and ribbon cuttings with a single caption. He signs the warrants. He buries the files. See you at dawn. The camera cuts to Daniel's face as sirens wail closer. He reads the caption out loud, voice breaking but steady. Daniel, whisper. Judge Harrison? The scene freezes on his face, determined, terrified, and ready to walk into a courthouse that might be the heart of conspiracy. Cut to black. EXT courthouse, dawn. A cold gray light spreads across the courthouse steps. Reporters cluster outside, cameras buzzing, murmurs rising about the pier incident. Police tape flutters in the breeze. Daniel approaches slowly, hood pulled low. Amira begged him not to come, but he had no choice. The text was clear. Come to the courthouse at dawn. Alone. He feels eyes on him from every corner. Journalists, strangers, maybe even enemies. In. Courthouse hall minutes later. The grand hall echoes with footsteps. Daniel's heart pounds. He clutches his phone, scanning for signs. A man steps into view. Black robe, silver hair, calm as stone. Judge Harrison. Harrison. Quiet, steady. Daniel. You made it. Daniel's fists clench. Daniel. Where is she? Where's Amira? Harrison smirks faintly, like a chess master mused by a novice's first move. Harrison. Safe for now. Whether she stays that way depends on you. Daniel takes a step forward, voice rising. Daniel. What do you want from me? Harrison. Slowly measured. Your silence. Your obedience. Your story. He gestures toward the empty courtroom doors behind him. Harrison, T. Today, I'll be hearing a case that could expose everything. The pier, Clara, my associates, you, all of it. But here's the choice. You can testify and bury your sister. Or you can sit silent and she walks free. Daniel's throat tightens. His choice is closed and like steel bars. In. Courtroom moments later. Daniel is ushered inside. The room is empty, save for Harrison at the bench, a court clerk scribbling, and two men in dark suits flanking the walls. Harrison bangs the gavel once, echoing through the silence. Harrison, court is in session. Daniel stands in the witness box, trembling with fury. Harrison, T. Speak, Daniel. Tell the world what you saw. Tell them Clara betrayed you. Tell them I'm corrupt. Make your case. He leans forward, voice dropping. Harrison, T. But remember, one word too far and Amira dies. Daniel looks to the clerk. The man isn't writing anymore. He's holding a small device under the desk, a live feed. Amira's terrified face flickers across the screen. She's in a basement, bound again. Daniel's chest burns. Daniel, voice cracking. You're monsters. Harrison, smirking. We're architects. We build narratives. Heroes. Villains. And you, Daniel, you're our favorite character. Daniel's hands grip the stand. For a moment, silence. He feels the weight of every choice, every sacrifice. Then the courthouse doors burst open. Lena storms in, camera rolling live. Marcus behind her, shoving microphones forward. Jonah limps in too, bruised but unbroken. Lena, shouting, "The world is watching, Harrison. This isn't your private stage anymore." Reporters flood in after them. Flashes explode. The live stream surges to thousands, then tens of thousands. Daniel's chest surges with hope, until he sees Harrison smile. Harrison, whisper to Daniel, "Good. Let them watch." He nods once. The clerk taps his device. On the screen behind the judge, Amira's image changes. She's now strapped to a chair. A digital clock ticks down. 30:00, 29:59. Gasps fill the room. Harrison, raising his gavel. "You wanted truth, Daniel? Here it is. A trial by fire. Speak." And the clock speeds up. Stay silent, and maybe she lives. Daniel's body goes rigid. Lena's camera zooms in on his pale face. The world watching him suffocate under the cruelest choice yet. The clock ticks down, steady, merciless. Cut to black. In. Courtroom. Dawn. The massive clock on the screen ticks. 29:12. 29:11. The air feels strangled with fear. Cameras flash. Reporters whisper. Daniel grips the witness stand so hard his knuckles turn white. His eyes flick from Judge Harrison to Amira's terrified face on the feed. Lena, whispering, urgent to Marcus. "We need to trace that signal. Now." Marcus, typing on his tablet. They're bouncing it through multiple relays. Whoever set this up knew exactly what they were doing. The timer drops. 28:55. 28:54. Harrison, calm, almost amused. Every second is a drop of blood, Daniel. The world wants a hero or a coward. Which will you be? Daniel's chest heaves. He can't think straight. Daniel, hoarse. If I speak, she dies. If I stay silent, you win. Harrison, smiling. Exactly. That's the beauty of it. In. Courthouse gallery. Continuous. Jonah, bruised and barely standing, pushes through the crowd. He leans close to Lena. Jonah, low, urgent. Don't just trace the feed. Watch the background. That's not a random basement. Look at the pipes. Look at the bricks. Lena zooms in on her camera. Her eyes widen. Lena, soft gasp. Oh my God, that's the old subway tunnels. Marcus looks up, shocked. Marcus, those tunnels run right under this courthouse. They both look at Daniel. If he can stall, they might actually reach Amira in time. In. Courtroom. Continuous. The timer. 25:20. 25:19. Daniel finally raises his head, locking eyes with Harrison. Daniel, steady, defiant. You want a story? Fine. I'll give you one. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Harrison leans forward, intrigued. Daniel, so indeed. I worked 3 jobs. I bled, I starved. I broke myself for Clara. On her birthday, I gave her everything, and she betrayed me. She lied to me, used me, and all of it led back to you. Cameras flash. The gallery buzzes. Harrison's smile doesn't falter, but his fingers tap the gavel faster. The timer suddenly jumps. 18:59. 18:58. Gasps. Harrison, mock sympathy. Oops, you should have stayed quiet. Daniel's stomach drops. In. Subway tunnels. Same time. Jonah, Lena, and Marcus Pry open a rusted maintenance hatch. The dark tunnel yawns before them. The faint echo of water drips. Marcus, panicked. Signal stronger here. She's close. They run into the shadows. The feed still live on Lena's camera. In. Courtroom. Continuous. Daniel's face is pale, drenched in sweat. The timer. 15:30. 15:29. He can't see what Lena and the others are doing. He only sees Amira crying, pleading silently through the screen. He pounds the witness stand. Daniel, shouting, "This isn't justice. This is terrorism. The crowd erupts. Reporters scream questions. The judge bangs his gavel. But the noise swallows him. Then the feed flickers. Static. A new message overlays the video. She isn't the only hostage. Daniel's breath stops cold. The feed switches to another camera, and his blood runs to ice. On screen, Clara, bound, gagged, eyes wide with fear. The courtroom gasps. Harrison's face finally changes. The faintest flicker of surprise. Daniel, hoarse whisper. No, this isn't your game anymore. The timer keeps falling. 14:00, 13:59. Daniel realizes with horror, someone else is pulling strings. Someone even higher than Harrison. Cut to black. In. Courtroom, dawn. The crowd is chaos. Reporters shout. Cameras flash. On the massive screen behind Judge Harrison, the feed has split in two. Amira in the subway chair, and now Clara, bound and gagged. The timer ticks. 12:34. 12:33. Daniel grips the stand, chest heaving. He stares at Harrison, whose calm mask is starting to crack. Daniel, voice shaking. You didn't know, did you? Harrison's jaw tightens. He slams the gavel down, harder this time. Harrison, court will come to order, but the people don't listen. The live stream is everywhere. For the first time, Harrison doesn't control the narrative. In. Subway tunnels, same time. Jonah's flashlight cuts through dripping shadows. Pipes groan overhead. Lena struggles with her camera in one hand, gripping Marcus's arm with the other. The signal grows stronger. Marcus, breathless. Left tunnel. It's right under the courthouse basement. They sprint, water splashing around their ankles. The timer on Lena's screen matches the one in the courtroom. 10:45. 10:44. Jonah, urgent. If we find the control hub, we can stop the feed. Maybe even disarm the trigger. Lena, quiet, fierce. No, we don't just stop it. We show it. The world has to see who's really behind this. In. Courtroom, continuous. Daniel leans forward, shouting over the chaos. Daniel, to Harrison, you said you built the story. You said you were the architect. Then who's holding Clara? Who's running you? The camera is whipped toward Harrison. For a moment, the judge looks almost afraid. Before he can answer, the feed glitches again. The courtroom goes silent as a new voice cuts through. Distorted, mechanical, chilling voice on feed. Through static, the judge was never the architect. He was only a gatekeeper. Daniel, Clara, Amira, all just pieces. The real story is still being written. The crowd gasps. Harrison's face drains of color. He grips the bench, knuckles white. Harrison, low, furious. You dare. Voice on feed. Overriding him. Tick-tock. 11 minutes until the first collapse. Let's see which piece Daniel saves, and which one he sacrifices. The timer resets. Now it shows 11:00, 10:59. But this time, two clocks side by side. One for Amira, one for Clara. In. Subway tunnels, same time. Lena freezes, staring at the new split-screen feed on her camera. Lena, soft, horrified. Oh no, it's a double play. Jonah, grim.